Well, he got a
he likes you a
headline.
lot, I guess.
He snuck it in. I put it in bold.
We're gonna let him
So
go.
don't suffer through this meeting. You get front row.
Like, because I'm here, you guys are gonna get all glassy eyed and tired while I'm talking.
Only sometimes, Mike.
It's only every time.
I don't know. I enjoy the rubber band gum fixing of the city that you
Do what you gotta do.
that you describe to us sometimes.
No, we still got another minute.
Got a minute.
Yeah, somebody fix that clock.
No, I just did, but yeah. It takes the hour, not the minutes.
I'm gonna put this on silent.
Never hangs straight either. It's
No.
just always.
Yeah.
Last time I put it on silent, I forgot to. Didn't hear it ring for 2 days.
Kind of peaceful, wasn't it?
Well, I figured it out after a couple of days. That wasn't quite right. And then I looked at it and went, oh, crap. So then all my messages that I didn't know I got. All right. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
November 8th, 2021, call to order. Tim,
Here.
Annie,
Here.
Here.
and these two guys gotta come in, hopefully. Let us see, that's all we need. 1, 2, 3.
I'll move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Do we have, well,
Did we have additions?
do we have any dishes? No? All right, this one. Justin, we were just gonna adopt the agenda. Do you have any additions to it or anything you wanna add?
No, I don't.
Okay. Somewhere down here in council business, we'll talk about debate shop.
Can we talk about that at the lake meeting?
Well, you would have thought I'd go with that, except that we have not gone with that so many times, I'm not worried about it. There's been many, many times when we've discussed lake stuff at city business meetings, and seeing as how we didn't wait for me last meeting, we're gonna talk about it this meeting.
And we do talk about the park in every meeting, so
Yeah,
there's no more park meetings. So the whole
it
park meeting, lake
blends
meeting.
together so much, it's just, it is what it
Oh,
is.
mine's just updates anyway.
Okay,
No, it doesn't have to do with you. He was talking about you.
Jeez, guys. Rude.
all right.
Off the air.
Okay, so now go ahead and go with your motion to adopt the agenda. If you-
Well, you had a motion in a second.
All right,
Okay.
all in favor?
Cool.
2, 3, 4.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I would like to address the minutes. In the spot there, Brett, where you said Councilmember Brett Kimball asked that it be stated that the 3 lots, there are seven lots that go with the property. What was the point of that? Were you trying to say that we sold it for $150, 3 lots?
Yes, that's exactly what I was saying. I was wanting everybody to know that we sold it 7 lots for $150. That's
Plus the
exactly-
demolition of the building.
It's a long lot. It's one lot.
It was 6 and something, wasn't it? Like
That's not the point, though.
6.4
The
or
reason we
something.
sold-
So I was rounding it up to 7, but
Okay.
I don't
you
know what
wanna
that.
be
I don't know what
exact.
that means. I guess it was more than an acre. I mean, that's. I don't think that's a
Is
secret.
this the one that got donated?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, and we subsequently sold.
Okay.
But it's mapped by the county as one lot.
Yeah, that's about that.
But the city didn't give it away like we've done so many times with other lots. We give them away for $50 and stuff like that. We gave it away so that we didn't have to spend $5,000 to $8,000 to demolish a house. And so that went along with the purchase of the property, which would be more appropriate to say that. So I would like that entered into the minutes that $150 plus the demolition of a building.
that sits on one lot. But I mean, that's what I was getting at, was that it was $150, which is a steal, irregardless if you have to tear down the building or not.
But we wouldn't have probably gotten $7,000 for that lot, do you think?
I don't know. Lots are going for $2,500 to $2,000. You even said that,
Here?
and I bought them for that at the county tax sales. So I'm just saying.
Well, and then also
And
we've
the
had,
lots that sold from the church, those empty lots were well over $1,000 as well. So I just wanted it stated.
okay.
If you have a
Well, I would
problem
like
with it
it
now, we
stated
can
that
correct it.
we did not give it away at $150. So that's all.
Let's see where it says we gave it away.
No, it was $150. That's
Plus
what
the
it was.
demolition of the building.
I think that was in there, wasn't it?
It was in the discussions meeting before. I don't know if you guys added it to the minutes.
Yeah, and we said with the stipulation. I think that was in the motion. So I think to Dolly's point, it should probably be in there. So
Okay.
I don't know.
If it was in the motion.
I second the approval with that addition, I guess. Do we need to do it again? I don't know.
All in favor? Moving on. Thank you.
Amy was the second? Yeah.
I wish we could do that with every lot we had to demolish in this town. I wish there was a neighbor standing by who wanted to buy it and would agree to demolish it on those terms. That would be awesome.
Sure would.
Move
I said
to,
my piece.
move to approve the appropriation ordinance 1492.
Second.
Okay. Tim?
Yes.
Danny?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
Any public concerns or comments today? Thank you. Kramer Engineering Sewer Project update. Dude,
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
welcome.
Glad to see y'all. Everybody healthy, I hope. I just want to come, we haven't seen you for a while. I want to come and give a little update on the project. We're still in the design phase, still gathering field information. We've been doing utility location, probably seen some flag ground, probably seen our guys in town, mark, getting utility locates. Thanks to Mike and Drew and the guys in town here doing all their locates for us, helping us out and getting the sewer and water and gas marked out for us. We can pick those up. We're getting very close to getting the end of getting all those utilities. We're just kind of filtering back through everything that we might have missed, before we get real deep into design. So we have started looking at layout of how we're going to lay the sewers out and things, but the final design we're still, preliminary design we're still a ways out. But we're getting all that information and just want to come talk to council, see if you have any questions about it at this point. Not really more to share on the project.
Do we need to proactively do anything with USDA, or have you been in contact with them as far as the time frame on when we started this, and then of course missed CDBG twice, and now we're still dragging out, or do we need to?
Yeah, no, I think we're fine.
We're good there.
Our interim financing is KDHE. Rural development already comes in after that is done. And buys out the loan from KDHE. I can definitely touch base with them and tell them where we're at. I can give them an update as well, which Josh has been in contact.
Oh
with
yeah,
them, so,
yeah. No, and they're great to work with. So
Do you think that the infrastructure that has been passed by the Congress will help us?
Well, that might be something that comes down. I think that has to be. If we hear word of something like that, we'll definitely bring it on to the council. Usually those things, they send letters out to the council though on that type of information. So if you see anything there of interest that I think we can look at, we'll sure help you look at it.
I love that avenue might come through like rural development. They might give them the authority, dollars, which we were kind of earmarked for a certain loan amount, and they couldn't guarantee us more grant where we, but they were hopeful that if our user rate needed to be brought down, they'd come up with something. So
Right.
they're really easy to work with, and I get that. But yeah,
I'm not sure where the city is on adjusting your user rates. Has there been any talk about that, or are you?
Well, we're above where we need to be right now, but kind of what they said when the project comes in, where we didn't get that 600,000 from CDBG, they couldn't guarantee us or put it on paper that yes, RD will step up and give more grant money to us rather than
Offset
loan
that.
money. But if it came in, our final user rate was going to be, $160 a month. Of course, that's not sustainable. So then they're going to be looking for more grant money to offset that, to bring that in user rate to retire the loan down to a
Absolutely.
reasonable.
So
level.
what they look at, what development looks at is averages across the state for user fees. And so if we do a project and your fees are not within that average, that's where Mike's saying, they bring in some more grant dollars to try to offset that to get your user fees in line with the rest of the state.
It just feels like if you could get this job done, we've done everything. I mean, we got good gas lines, got gas people, and water was
Right.
redone. And it seemed like sewer was the last thing for our infrastructure that would really give our little town a boost.
Absolutely. Right.
Saves a lot of headache in the future.
Yeah.
A lot of really deep headache.
A lot of messy headache is what he's talking about.
Please, yes.
Right. And so as far as our design, nothing's really changed from our report stage. We're still going to do line bursting, line in the pipe, and open pump station rehab, things like that. So there's nothing new that's come up on that front at this point. So
In Lagoon.
Lagoon,
Ponds,
correct,
yep.
yeah, Lagoon, as far as treatment. All new structures there, or all new structures and piping at the Lagoon. So
What's the timeline look like right now? I know that's, I'm sure, very flexible or subject to, things falling in line certain places, but if you had to guess, when do shovels go in the ground and that kind of good stuff?
I think we'll still be in design in the spring and probably be more towards summer, fall to bid it, and then possibly put it into construction. I don't know if we start late fall or go ahead and wait till spring for construction of next year.
Okay.
So,
Spring 2023. Something like that for.
Yeah, we're not doing anything else in 23. Why
tell
not?
you,
Schedule's up and so forth.
There we go.
we hope too that supply, the economy, those things kind of turn around, because it's a tough time to bid project right now.
You don't want to have to buy pipe right now.
No, you do not want to buy pipe. Pipe and just general labor is contractor pricing. We bid a project up in Jefferson County. I hate to say this, but our estimate in 2018-17, we had an engineered estimate was about $158 for some lagoon work, just small lagoon system. They did add in riprap to the project, which we didn't have in that, I guess. So that was another $70,000. But the project had one bidder. It was King's Construction out of Oskaloosa. I don't know if you're familiar with Mike shaking his head. Yeah, and they were $345. So it was double what we originally. I guess, like I said, didn't have there's probably $70,000-$80,000 worth of riprap the county wanted to add into that 158. So they weren't really double, I guess. But the prices are up there, and we had one bidder. We had five plan holders, but one bidder. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that we can get some of that workforce back and the pipe comes back. What they had, we don't have that. Well, what they had a problem with pipe is last year it froze in Texas, where all the resin plants are, and all the pipe plants are. Resin plants went down. It took them a long time to clean that hardened resin out there and get it up and running. And they have, have 8 lines, and this is all hearsay, I don't know, but they have 8 pipelines, to make the pipe, and they had like 3 running. They could get enough resin. And there were all kinds of plastic products that were in shortage. You may or may not have seen, like electrical boxes at Home Depot or something. There were no electrical box there for a while. I don't know what the situation is now, but PVC, anything with resin.
The PVC is still horrible, and it's like sizes. I mean, they're trying to make common sizes, but 4 inches is kind of weird, which that's fairly common to me. But 4-inch pipe, I mean, it's 10 times what it was a year and a half ago.
And the suppliers are not even quoting and locking in prices right now for these contractors. I mean, I don't know how they're doing it.
If you can get somebody to give you a price for 10 days, you're doing good.
If you get prices, you're doing good right now.
Yeah.
So when we did a water line project, and they have pipe block pricing, they call it. And so normally block pricing, a high block pricing would be 130. Maybe 150 block pricing. These were off their books. They were over 250 up to 300 block pricing. And it's just how they categorize it. And they didn't even have it in their books. So it's an issue. So we're,
Does it look like that's kind of cresting at all, or is it still trending upward as far as all the increases?
I think everybody's starting to deal with it a little bit better now, and the supply's coming back. I really do think that's starting to turn. We thought it would happen last spring.
Yeah.
So the suppliers, but it didn't happen. So
Other shortages started to happen.
right.
Yes.
It's been like a pinball
Then they
effect
make it
here.
all. No, it's all. I mean, a lot of this stuff will be U.S. pipe and steel too. I mean, we're gonna be
Just
required
in
to buy
time
domestic
shipping.
pipe and
Well,
steel.
that's right.
Run it down inventory, and one thing goes wrong, and then it just cascades.
Mhm.
And we got a 1,400-foot deep well down in Frontenac, Kansas, and they've got the 6-inch column pipe. They found it. American Iron Steel. Everybody talking about AIS. You'll hear that a lot on these projects. American Iron Steel, because you're in the funding, and the collars that screw them together are out of Canada. They can't find any U.S. made ones. We don't know what we're gonna do with something like that. You got all the column pipe and no way to come together.
So in other words, we should probably buy stock in steel.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. American steel.
right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. You ever have
Should
any
have been.
questions or
Great to
comments?
see you.
Be sure to get a hold
Got
of me.
your
or-
number.
Excuse me.
We've got your number.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
sure do. If anything else comes up, let me know. Thanks, Stephanie, for getting on the agenda.
Yep.
Everybody have a good evening.
You
Thanks a
too.
lot, Ben. Be safe.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye. Michael, do you have a report for us?
I do have a few things here. I'll go back over a couple of things, kind of major stuff that's happening. Water plant, we had our 2021 sanitary survey. It's about every 3 years they come out and do an inspection on the water plant records, go through things like that, which I was curious if that was going to happen this year, just with everything going on and staffing shortages, and they did. Doyne Dolacek came out, which I had met him once before. I had him come out when we were fighting through the lagoon chlorine issue at first before we built that drying bed to desludge our lagoons. And he was very, very new. He actually came over from USDA to work for the state of Kansas. Why, I do not know. But very well read. He's definitely done his research. He asked me questions that I did not see coming, which were no big deal, but I've been through these before, and the normal paperwork and day-to-day stuff wasn't really there as much. Looked at it, everything was fine. And then Helen Holm, which she's been with KDHE forever. I'd never actually met her. She came out. It was a great meeting. The only deficiency, which is classified as a minor deficiency, the ventilation system in the chlorine room was not functional. I've never used it. Actually, it's kind of a emergency deal. If there was a chlorine leak, it up it on and it pulls off the floor because chlorine settles and then it ventilates it out the plant. And I did not know that. So we researched it. It had a burn up motor. The motor actually just came in the end of last week. Everything's torn apart out there at the plant. We got it all pulled apart. Hopefully within the next couple of days, we'll have it wired in. I submitted my response to him, told him what we were doing. I just need to send him pictures and confirmation that that's been done. And that is the only deficiency we had. There were some recommendations. Nothing crazy. Water line flushing. It says, please establish a water line flushing program and document the event dates at least once per year. That's kind of something we do on an as needed basis. You know, we're a good loop system ever since everything was redone. We're looped everywhere. We don't really have any dead ends. There's only really one dead end in town I can think of. We've kind of got our sampling points. If we get a lower than normal chlorine reading, and when I say that, I mean, we're usually in the mid to high 3s in town, which is amazing. If we get something that's in like the 2s, we're like, all right, we're getting something, we'll flush it. Wants us to do that. That's not anything that's written anywhere. That's a law, a rule that we have to do, but I'm hoping we'll entertain that. At the time, we did have one high service pump that was offline for repair. Then establish a valve exercising program, which we do about once a year. We go around, find all our valves, paint the lids again, just, you know, keep the crap off the top of them, and document the dates at least once per year. Now, this is 192 rule for gas valves. We have to exercise once a year, all of our emergency valves. Once again, I asked, is that written anywhere that I have to do that? It's not. That's not what I was getting at, but we'll work on doing that too, and which would be good. Locate all our valves and give them all a name or number, again, letters, numbers, something, and do that. And the chlorine leak detection system is inoperable. It's been for quite some time. I started looking into that. They requested that that be fixed or replaced as well. I thought those were a lot more expensive than they really are. I found a couple options from USA Blue Book, like $1,500 ish, something like that, for a one sensor detector, which just detects chlorine. Waiting on some else maybe they can come up with. I also reached out to Hawk Company to see if they had something. It's good to have. It is. I mean, it's kind of one of those things we deal with. Our chlorine room opens to the outside, of course. It doesn't vent into our plant, so that's all an outside access type of deal. It's always a fresh air situation that we're in if we're messing with that stuff. And knock on wood, today we haven't had any major issues with any chlorine gas leakage. That was that. High service pump 1, which you're talking about. I think last time I was here, we did have a high service pump out for repair. Topeka electric motor, rewound it. We got it back. Alexander's came out, put it in. It ran for like a day. Then we had some VFD issues. We replaced a frequency drive. Had a bunch of issues after that. Darren Alexander, he put a megger on it and megged out the winding on this motor to, I don't know how many billions of whatevers, but I mean, it meggered out amazing. Like nothing was wrong. Could not figure it out. Finally, Topeka Electric said, just bring the motor back. They tore it apart. They found a very, very small spot in one of the windings where the varnish, and they guessing it was factory varnish on the winding on the copper, because they look like bare copper, but they're actually not bare. There is a thin coat of varnish, so they don't arc. There was a fault in the winding. They rewound it again, free of charge. They don't think that anything that we did or the drive going bad caused it or anything. So it's back online. It's been working great here for about 3 weeks. No issues there. We did have some electrical demons after that as well. Very strange things. We had one water meter, our raw water meter, started reading very funny, started reading low. We could tell the flow was the same though. It has since corrected itself. Took about 2-3 days, corrected itself. It's an ultrasonic meter. Don't know if there was an issue, something came through there. We had our sweeps and mixers on our east contact basin. We had a short issue. I messed with it for about 2/3 of a day and then called Darren out. I believe that was actually a holiday, maybe, that I was on call.
Sorry.
And found there is a fault in a couple of wires, and it's 483 phase going out to these motors as well. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of feet of wire, how it runs through the pipe in the plant. They ran off separate circuits. Basically, we took the amount of wires we needed to make everything work off of one circuit. They're both 20 amp circuits. Both motors combined are pulling like 2.6 amps. So it's not a big deal. It was kind of a redundancy thing before, but at this point, it's an aging plant. It's to be expected. Some of this is still circa 1983 coming through the old side of the plant and into the panels. At this point, I'm confident in it. We'll operate as is to save money. There's no sense throwing a ton of it. At that point, it's manageable. We still have a way to do it, but I'm not sure what happened there. Like I said, a lot of weird stuff went on kind of all at once, but everything, plant's been running amazing. Chlorine's holding great. Turbidity's been great. Water's cooling down. It's a little bit thicker, which is way easier to treat. Our wastewater testing for our backwash lagoons, back to this total residual chlorine thing that I fought. Q2, we were golden. We started doing a dechlorination program, kind of. I mean, this is something we did on our own, did a lot of research. We're using ascorbic acid, which is nothing but vitamin C, basically, to neutralize chlorine. Q2, we were great, none detected. Our permit limit is 100 parts per billion, which is basically the minimal detection limit. So it's either none detected or we're out of compliance. But this last quarter, we're at 300 parts per billion. So we're going to ramp up our dechlorination a little bit, which any fish in the world can live in 300 parts per billion chlorine. We're not hurting the environment at all. So these regulations are ridiculous in my opinion. But I submitted the EDMR at the end of last month, so we'll see. I don't think they're going to come back with us on anything. We've done what we can do, and we're going to step that up. We have some tablets we use, and we backwash big tablets of vitamin C, and then we have a chemical pump that we can run just for our day-to-day process, just our water that comes out constantly that goes to those lagoons. Over to the gas. We had some cathodic issues on the South Steel feeder line. I brought that up a few months ago. After our KCC pipeline inspection, Tallgrass pipeline, one of their cathodic techs, he was going to come up. He never actually did. I talked to him 2 or 3 times. He hasn't made it up. We were guessing that the rectifier bed or the anode bed on our south rectifier had been depleted into life there. Everything that I told him that I found with the rectifier, the weird stuff was going on. He said, your anodes are done. Went ahead and installed some anodes towards the north end of that line. We're still running the rectifier. It's doing something. Our readings have been up. They've been holding. He said it might take 3 to 4 weeks for it to stabilize again and actually get good readings because we had bonded back with Tallgrass pipeline to provide protection. I unbonded when we put these anodes in. I just checked it about 3 weeks ago. We're holding. Even at the Tallgrass crossing, we're holding. We're good. Hopefully, these anodes will keep us. I mean, in retrospect, anodes are cheap. We don't want, once again, we don't need to go down and build a $50,000 anode bed for a rectifier for 8 miles. Well, not even that, probably 4 miles of steel pipe that we're going to replace. A lot of it's above ground pipe, the original stuff. So,
Cost that much for hunks of metal?
it depends. Yeah, that's what I asked him. I'm like, what's an anode bed cost? Is this something we can just go bury some anodes and hook into the line, or? Which of course they do. They bury anodes. Sometimes they drill like a big well and they build an anode. They stack the material, the magnesium in there, and I don't know. He said it might be 10,000, it might be 50,000, but they deal with huge pipe all over the place. So yeah. I don't know. But for, I mean, a 17-pound anode costs us probably $175. So we're gonna keep putting 17-pound anodes on the line if it'll maintain. I mean, if we can't maintain protection, we're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to either part of our plan, our remediation will be okay within 5 years we are going to replace this line or something. We'll have to tell the state something. But right now, numbers are good. We'll just
as long as we have poly, or if we can get poly pipe in the future, that goes away.
Yeah. There's no cathodics on poly pipe. Yeah. So yeah, and that's be moving south up because everything from our head station coming up is all poly. So there's no cathodics down there. But I didn't print off any pictures. Southern Star completed one of their modernization deals. Of course, they're doubling our transmission fee or transportation fee this year. They filed with FERC. FERC didn't come back with anything, so I believe that went into effect last month or this month or something. So basically, they're doubling transportation until the FERC says they can or they have to go back. But they put in a giant new regulator station with all new munis. My God, it's completely redundant. I think there's 4 or 5 cuts in this building. There's heaters on every single regulator set. There's a giant heater outside that heats the incoming gas coming into this building. Yeah, they're spending millions of dollars on their modernization, which it's pretty, but for good old Eskridge, for what we use, it's something. I tell you what, it's pretty impressive. But none of our doing, but that's what they needed to do. Which the station that was there, I mean, every winter would be, it'd come about a foot and a half off the ground. The icing on the pipes would lift the building off the ground and tweak the pipes, and it needed to be done. But, yeah. I'd go down there like when we were like February, which luckily it was really dry air, so we didn't have a ton of icing, but that baby was singing in February down there. But yeah, high pressure goes to low pressure. Which year, look, they're running 900,000 psi on that line, and we're dropping it down to 57. When you go from 900 to 57, it gets really, really close. Gas leak surveying over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We don't have our big one. Big one was last year. I'm not going to get the RMLD this year. I don't plan to unless somebody local has it and we'll use it. Alma's currently borrowing our FI to get all their stuff done and get that back, get the leak surveying done. Our CP survey, which is the cathodic protection, work on that. Might have one little spot in Admire. If it's really wet, we have good readings. When it's dry, we don't have such good readings, so we might have a spot that needs an anode or two. That came up too, and we were checking on the pipeline inspection. I've since gone back to check, and we've had protection, and it's kind of up and down, but once again, that's not a big issue. But a couple, 3-4 weeks ago, we did crack sealing in town. One pallet of material covered 20 blocks this year, which is pretty ridiculous. That was a lot of walking. Normally it doesn't go that far with our streets, which is good news because the ones we picked to do, it actually went a ways, did a lot of good. We're kind of at that, there's really a between. They're either really decent or they're really bad. So something to look at. I mean, I was looking, we've got like 55,000 special highway. Solid waste is back up to, we got 17,000 cash, which that's definitely not what it was when we used all that for the chip seal. Have to think about some deals, look at something, maybe try to look at some grants. I know, I forget what the name is. KDOT has a deal they do a couple times a year, which I don't know if that has to be engineered or not. And it's kind of, doesn't have to be on a highway system, but I don't think it's just going to be for streets, but something to look into. I looked at it a little bit and watched a webinar, and I don't know if that has, and it's what finances a lot of streetscape projects, stuff like that, same type of deal. Minimum of 30,000. I think your project has to be a minimum of 30,000 to even apply, which is not hard to do when you're talking about streets, but maybe look into that if it doesn't have to be engineered. If it does, well, then we're just throwing more money at it. But other than that, it's kind of the main stuff. I'm sure there's been a lot of goings on, but kind of business as usual. Any questions? I do have one more thing, but any questions on utilities day to day? Anything that I've been asked, forgot, something?
You notice you squirted stuff in the cracks in the roads.
Yeah, they were just talking about.
So I was writing a note on my
Oh no!
I was writing a note on my expense report here.
I appreciated it.
Yeah, 19 to 20 blocks, which normally, I don't know, 12-ish blocks. We get 12, 14, something like that. So a lot more walking at the end. It's like, Lord, what is going on with that machine run out?
The tarp that
We
I
wanna
saw,
be
was that to
done.
cover the dog pen? I saw a tarp on the expense thing for
It
the,
was, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
what? That
It
high
was, I
wind
think,
just
yeah.
ripped it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that big high wind, it just tore it up. Gutted it.
Gets windy around here.
One more thing.
No, you're done.
it's not time for purchase requests yet.
Well, I just do this in my department report.
We haven't had one for like 6 months.
That's
I
my
don't know.
style.
It hasn't been that long since
Stop
it's
it.
been-
This is kind of, I've been working back and forth on this. I finally got some people pinned down today. Back and forth with pricing and this and that, and it's like a double-edged sword. The used stuff's worth a ton right now, which is whatever, but Drew's truck, 2014 Chevy 1-ton, it's got about 148,000 right now. Now's the time to think. We're either going to try to get something back out of this truck or we're going to drive it into the dirt like we have with everything else.
Didn't you just buy that thing?
In 2016?
Seems like it.
In 2014, believe that. Mine's already paid for.
Good year, man.
Yeah, I
Mine's
guess
already
so.
paid for. Done deal.
148,000. All right.
148,000 miles. Yeah.
I've got
Which
a
four
question
people have driven
for
that truck.
you. Do we have a truck that can be used out at the lake that pulls the boats in and out? Because her truck was too small and she lost the rear end. And then the red truck, we were worried that it was too small. Did it work? I don't know what she used to get the boat in and out with. Do we have a spare truck is what I'm talking
It
about.
depends on when it is and what's going on and who's mowing and if they have brakes. Like the first part of this year, both of our old spare trucks that both blew brake lines.
So we have a couple then. Some spares.
Yeah, if they keep running, we've got a 04 Ford and an 02 Chevy down there that are ragged out, but they still do run. Well, Chevy didn't want to run the other day. I don't know why. Anyway, breakdown on this. That's what I'm looking at. 2022 F-250 from John North delivered. This is a single cab. 34,918. Reading service body from Kansas Truck, 12,800, which is crazy. These things have, I told him today, I'm like, oh my God, these things have gone through the roof. Snowplow prep from Kansas Truck, 2,200. That's for the new mount and wiring. And then I'm estimating the trade at about 19,000. John North said they don't necessarily trade themselves where it's a work truck, but they've got 4 or 5, I forget what terminology he used, people that will come in and bid it, like what they will give. It's kind of like brokers that will come in on work trucks, stuff like that. And at the time, when the time comes, they'll bid it. Of course, we always have the option to sell it, take bids, put away, but whatever we want to do. Middle trade-in value on that truck was about 15,000 if it was just an actual truck. It's got a stall service body with rust on it. That thing has been repainted. We sent it back in for warranty. It rusted again. I don't know what's up with that body, so it does show rust. I guessed it about 4,000 for a trade-in, like going to someone, a dealer, somebody who might want to repair some of that. Private party, I'm guessing maybe 21,000. It's probably going to be less with the bed because a private party is going to see it and see the rust, stuff like that. So I just shot an estimate of about 19,000 out of that truck, which puts us back down to about 31,000. Currently, Mark will do 3.25. Our lowest to date has been 3.75. 3.25 over 3 years, 3.25 over 4 years. We want to do that. I think 3 years, keep them rolling. Yeah, they're about 5 months out. I'm guessing if we pulled the trigger, it'd be about May of 22 to get the truck, which would put the first payment in May of 23. There's weird things. Mark, I mean, there is a way to borrow all the money, pay for the truck, and then get our trade in, then redo the loan to drop the payments down. If we did this, especially in May, we'll have time to do it. If we just paid for it out of general, which can be spent on anything, then work out our trade deal. And then once we get the trade, of course, the trade goes back to general. Then we do the loan proceeds for the remainder. Then that goes back to general, replenishes everything. Then we're on our deal. He said that would be way easier on his end, and it's not anything just, well, I mean, there's a chunk coming out of general, but then it's coming back from the trade and the loan.
And how long is it out of general before it comes back?
I would guess a month, month and a half.
With absolutely no hiccups guaranteed.
No, I mean, the loan proceeds definitely are coming back. I mean, yeah, it's all coming back. It's just the trade just going to dictate how much the actual loan
So that
is.
Mark doesn't have to do the
If we
loan
got
twice.
15,000 for it, we're going to borrow a little more. If we get 25,000
It's really
for
just
it,
trying to
we're going to
figure out
borrow
this
less.
estimate here.
But rather than borrow the full amount, pay for it. Okay, we get 20,000 out of it, then we give 20,000 back to the bank for any payments. So we'd actually want to adjust our yearly payments rather than just give them 20 grand. And so, yeah, it is what it is. That's a weird technicality. But next deal is our liabilities with Flint Hills Bank. Our loader, the final payment will be next year in June, $9,800. That was on a 5-year note. That did, and we had a 5-year warranty. We bought the extended warranty on that. The 2020 F-250, the final payment on that will be in 2023. My truck was paid off in full, I believe, March of this year. Down one more notch there, just looking forward. I was hoping to have a ballpark mower deal for you guys tonight, but they haven't been able to get it to me. I told them, find us a mower because they're getting allocations for next year. They're looking at all their commercial guys, what it is. We have two. I would like to do one next year, one the year after. This year was the last year warranty on both of our mowers. We don't have any major issues with them. One of them might have some bearings on the deck, getting a little growly. But other than that, I think they'll bring really good trade. They're going to be worth a lot of money for them to sell used too, because they're not going to be able to get.
What's the hours on the mowers?
The one in town's like 680, 690. And then the lake mower, I do not know for sure. It's going to be right in there as well. And then we got about 950 hours on the skid loader. No known issues. We did have that one drive seal that blew out, replaced under warranty, and that basically paid for a warranty right there. I mean, I think we paid $4,000 for that extended warranty, maybe not quite that much. But basically the cost of that repair would have been that. So that validated our warranty right there. But everything's good. I would say run it at least another year on Explore trade in. That machine will be premium. We're not, breaking it out, wearing out all the bushing, stuff like that. It's very well maintained. That will command premium money. So that's something to look at if that's what we're going to do, is prior to something being worth nothing, getting money back out of it, and then everything becomes cheaper in the long run. Back to that, we have been unlucky on all our grant applications, but all this stuff that we've done over the last 6-7 years is going on there. It looks good. You get points for this. We're investing back into all of our equipment, stuff like that. Hopefully we can do more of that in the future. But thoughts? Anything on that? What approach do we want to take? We just need to.
My first question is, why don't we look at diesel trucks?
Because if it goes bad, it costs a lot more. Honestly, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
I don't know
There's a lot more money. I mean,
I
money
know
in the
very
motor.
little about diesel. I
Yeah.
know more money, but I know that they go 4 or 5 times as many miles.
In theory, they do. That
Resale
truck, I
value along
believe,
with that.
Do what?
Resale value along with that.
yeah,
That's true too.
Yeah.
the 6.7, which I don't think I can see the option on the build sheet. I mean, a 6.7, I mean, honestly, that's probably going to add another 5. Probably, I would guess 5,000 to that truck, somewhere in there. Cold weather operation. I mean, things are a lot better than they used to be, but as far as that goes, I know Dodge has a lot of them come out. They don't even put block heaters on them. They say you don't need them, which I would really want one. It just having your oil warm on a diesel pickup in the winter just helps things move a lot quicker.
And also, I know I always hear them dirty maxes getting gelled up in the
Mhm.
wintertime. So
Mhm.
All I know is you get to hear them sitting on Main Street when everybody goes in the cafe for breakfast. They'll turn the darn thing
Oh, believe
off.
me, I love the sound of a diesel.
a lot of them are
Oh,
a
but
little,
they
a lot of them
stink.
are quieter than what they used to be.
Yeah, oh, yeah, they're way quieter. It's annoying.
Yeah, they're stinky.
They're supposed to rattle.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you spend a few thousand more and you get twice the mileage out of them or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about them. I just know that I've been shopping for trucks.
Mhm.
Replace my gas powered one because it doesn't have the oomph that a diesel has.
Mhm.
Boy, howdy, they hold their value.
Are your 2 Fords, are you guys going to try to keep them longer than the 8 years? I'm just curious.
8 years.
So
I would like to get into a little bit less than that, so things are worth more if we could,
For,
on the trade, the
That's
roll,
right.
if we can get good deals on them.
okay.
Yeah.
Because yours will be what, 8 years? And that's what you guys are
Yeah.
looking at. So,
And there was a little bit of lapse in there until we did that one, and then we did mine, and we did Jim's, and that's kind of been on a 3-year rotation. Like if we can just keep paying them off and actually get money back out of them, that was kind of the whole idea. Is a true cost to own, but you're actually getting something back out of your vehicle, other than a couple $1,000 once it's completely done.
The thing I worry about is like that price still being what we paid $1,000 for a new truck, but then the bottom of the used truck market kind of falls off or kind of reverts to something reverts to mean, I guess. But and that so then 19,000 becomes 15,000 or 12,000 or some other number where that raises the bottom line. I mean, I still think we have to do it, and I still think that we should be on a regular rotation with the trucks. But that's the only thing I look at it and see. Oh, it looks great.
Yeah, and this
It
is
looks okay now. but,
yeah, this is uncharted territory too, as far as a trade. I mean, we're subject to what we can get. I mean, you don't have to take it, refuse it. I mean, $19,000 for a really good work truck. I mean, there's a lot of contractors out there. It would be good for them. I mean,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
yeah.
But And you look, I mean, we bought that truck a lot cheaper than you or I could go buy a truck for. So then it kind of offsets, which
We paid
building that
around
truck
30 for
right.
that truck, right?
Huh?
In 2014. I don't know. So I mean, you
Yeah,
got
yeah. I
19,000.
actually have that there. Yeah,
So really, we
31,
only-
13. Yeah, it was 38.9.
Oh, okay. That's,
And get this, the stall bed, which we're going with Reading because I don't know what happened with stall in that bed. 13,481 for the bed and the plow.
yeah.
Now the plow prep's 2,200. Like I was talking to the guy at Kansas Truck. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
He's like, it's ridiculous. That bed, what, 12.8 and 17. That was $9,600 for that, which mine's it's gonna be about the same bed, I think. Mine's an extended cab, so the cab to axle might be just a little bit different. But in 2017 or 2018, that was $9,600, and it's 12.8 now. I mean,
Yeah.
things have just it's
What do they do for that prep?
Wow.
Do anything to the front suspension? Or-
That's all done with the factory. Yeah, the plow prep. What I'm saying there is they install the carriage, the mount, and then they actually wire in all of the stuff into the cab for the remote. They do the wiring at Kansas Truck because they're the ones that sell the stuff.
I just hope we're not overpaying for a harness that we can just poke a hole and hook it on ourselves.
No, definitely not. Material he said on that, I want to say he said it's about $300, $350 is actually the shop fee. Everything else is the actual equipment. Because I asked, for some reason I had it in my head $500. I'm like, so what's plow prep? Throw that on there like $500. He's like, no. He's like, where did you come up with that? I'm like, I don't know. Seems like I bought something from you for $500. I thought that's what it was.
Wasn't that?
No, definitely wasn't.
So that
Definitely wasn't.
that 34,918 top line, or I mean, you're even the service body. Those aren't locked in devices in any way too, and that can float between now and then. Is that
The 34,918 should be, unless Ford's done something in the last few weeks as far as adjusting things, but they really haven't. That number is,
are we able to lock that in at all? Is that
oh yeah. I mean, if it was approved, I'd call him tomorrow and absolutely he could number. But I mean, this is actually the build sheet where he built it on Ford.
okay?
But I built that truck online and it's 44,535. Their actual total base was 44,960. Came out to 39,418.
Yeah.
And then another 5,000 off of that down to 34,419. That's literally because we're government.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically 10,000 off.
Yeah.
Well, what's everybody's
It's
thought?
ridiculous.
Do they have more questions, or do you want to follow the advice of our supervisor here?
Well, we have all this equipment here that we need, so I guess my suggestion was to find a way to fit in a street sweeper, because it's been like a decade since we've been able to sweep our
Our
streets,
streets.
and the attachment to work and get for the Bobcat uniloader just does not do a great job at all.
It doesn't for the gutters.
I mean, it doesn't get close enough. It just, it's kind of a waste of time, and it's not the operator. It's just how it is, I think.
It picks up a lot of material though. I mean, it does. It doesn't. Yeah, I know
It
what you
doesn't
mean.
fill your
It doesn't
bucket up
squeak.
quickly, and that's
But I also understand that a street sweeper is pretty expensive, but like I'm willing
What
to
did we
entertain
do
and
with
use
our
one.
last street sweeper?
We junked it.
Because
It was nickel and diming us, I think is
Electrical
what it was
nightmare.
said.
I remember. I just wanted to see if anybody else remembered. I remember a lot
I
of
don't
hot
remember.
words about that thing, so.
I do.
So in other words, you're kind of for what he's talking about, plus a sweeper, which
Yeah.
I like the idea of that anyway. Especially if we could come up in front of my store and sweep away all those cigarette butts.
So we're putting it all together in a financing package with the bank. Is that the idea?
Oh, they make some really cool brand new ones for going that route. I'll tell you what, good water conference with me. Woo, baby. They're amazing.
You get a free room in there one time. You deal with us.
When's this water conference? I keep hearing
I
about.
also
You're
would
like
It's on
canceled
my
the last 2
calendar.
years.
Your WA, it's fun.
No, it's actually just, it kind of sucks. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
We'll listen to
Who are
it.
you trying to lie?
Yeah, we don't get invited to the attorneys forum where they have
Right.
caviar and champagne. That room that we're not allowed to go into.
That's called rubber chicken and ranch.
You had something else you wanted to say?
I did. I mean, I've brought this up before too, but like getting some type of attachment for like a brush hog or our unit or something that would flop down and like mow the shorelines a little bit easier at the lake, where to stick out where you can't get in with the weed or something to mow that, or even our ditches or around anywhere. Just,
Yeah, I see one, the township has one.
The
and it
state
looks
has
like
one
the-
that
Yeah,
works easy to
amazing.
use. I don't know how much those. Obviously, it's all pricey, but
Yeah, I'm thinking like a boom mower. That way you can like stay away from the edge a little bit. But
JC
Yeah,
Penney
Christmas.
Christmas catalog here.
Just need somebody driving in the light.
Yeah, we can get what we want, right? It's Christmas.
Yeah. Avoid that
if
scenario.
if this isn't like a, we're gonna do it every 2 weeks thing, as far as a boom mower, I could talk a thing and do some stuff. I mean,
I was thinking like once or twice or even three times at most a season.
right. And I mean, asking the county of that might be a little much. They offer to help us out with the dam, if we haul gravel, get stuff, or if the weather's right, they'll bring maintainer out, roll the dam, try to cut the potholes.
One time to get the ball rolling there is
Mhm.
enough.
But
to
I don't know if
suffice.
they have an attachment.
That seems
Like
something.
a boom.
I don't think I've ever seen one out there in my yard
Not in your yard.
Oh, what?
Oh, you're
next door.
Oh,
next door.
Where
The
Wayne
backyard.
parks all that stuff.
Side yard.
yeah, no.
I would
And
have
the
to mow
state
it.
probably wouldn't do us a solid.
Do what?
I said the state.
The state wouldn't. But no, Thane has a boom mower. County has a boom mower.
Well, what did the township have when they went down Bronc Rider? Did you see it?
That's not. Oh, our township.
Huh?
Yeah, they did a wing mower. No,
And that,
they have a boom mower. They did have, but they took it off the tractor and put a wing mower on it. The sweeper, that's something to keep an eye out for. It's hard because you don't want something that's like, I've even talked to Alma years ago and they're like, you could probably borrow it, but you're gonna have to trailer it because it likes to overheat and this and that. It's kind of one of them deals. They just kind of keep babying along. But
I know they're always working on it,
Yeah.
but it still does an amazing job when it's working.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to it. Keep it on Purple Wave, something like that.
And I know they sell big monstrosity ones and they sell kind of smaller ones.
And that's the thing, is a place to put it because there is a lot of electronics, a lot of stuff going on, and our under shelter space is at a premium. With the crap we have,
maintenance shop.
we need something. Eventually, if we're gonna get a lot nicer stuff. So yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's baby steps here. I would like to keep an eye out for a street sweeper, get some ideas of what some are selling for, maybe, and then come back to you guys with a ballpark budget. Because it's one of them deals, especially on auction, it's going to be like, all right, we're going to have to pull the trigger when we pull the trigger. So there'll have to be some sort of approval. Otherwise, I'm really going to be in here begging for forgiveness. I don't know if you guys
Well,
want
and
that,
I'm
but-
assuming that it'll probably mostly have to come out of the general fund since we're probably not going to be traveling it out to the lake to sweep. So it's predominantly just for us, which makes it even more.
Yeah, but we got revenue.
Price tag is scary.
portions of them.
Yeah.
We have no curb and gutter.
What about your?
Anybody else have a street sweeper like here, Alma, Harveyville,
Alma does.
where you can kind of,
Harveyville.
horse trade with them a little bit, and for some of the, I just,
Let them borrow our boom mower that we're borrowing from somebody else.
well, yeah. Yeah.
They don't get me started on that. I didn't even know that freaking county had a kickoff room sitting in this shed for 20 years until they sold it. Or no, they took it to Alma. Now Alma has it. They get to keep it in their shop and maintain it. Same with the freaking chip sealer too. So, don't get me started on Alma.
Yeah, just for some of those, I just don't
Alma
picture
always
the-
gets the full cookie.
Yeah, they do.
got that right.
No, that's what Alma does have one. That's what I was talking about years ago when John Bollinger was up there. I asked him about it. Drew asked me about it. Maybe he's like, yeah, you'd have to trailer it. It likes to overheat. There's no way you could drive it to Eskridge. It would blow up, type of thing. So it's kind of like,
Well,
maybe
yeah.
we don't want to borrow it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So
Be
Osage
responsible.
probably does, but at that point. I mean, as far as gas stuff goes, we could definitely ask Osage for something. I mean, we're in a mutual aid group. As far as that in their town, I would be reluctant to ask them for something like that
Yeah.
to come over here.
Yeah, even
I thought I saw one.
renovate the hell.
I don't know anything. We don't deal anything Maple Hill.
Okay, so do you
Jeez.
have any idea, on what the trucks?
Not for the truck. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if everybody wants to chew on it for a meeting or whatever, but
No, and that's fine.
I don't need to, but I think it's all, it looks like what
I
you
think
presented in
chewing
the
would-
past.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I mean-
chewing just stalls it for you.
Yeah. Obviously, but the cost is higher on everything right now. So, I mean, it looks like everything is on that 3-year cycle, and this is the oldest truck. So, all
Put it
makes sense
this way, 2022 F-250 is $34,918. Just the truck from Longvines that was quoted in 2013 was $33,600. The truck isn't where it's at. It's in all the other freaking stuff to put on the truck. So, Ford hasn't gone crazy. So, which this wasn't the cheapest bid. I mean, by $1,000 or so back in the day in 2013, 2014. But
because we wanted a Ford rather than a Chevy.
you're on a Chevy rather than a Ford.
Any, do you have an opinion, or
I
would you?
think it sounds good to me. It sounds like regular.
It's always a good idea to have good turnover of equipment.
Yeah. Better to get a
It's
Ford.
worked, yeah.
I mean, it's a bullet to bite, but it's kind of what I wanted to shoot for. But we kind of talked about shooting for if we can keep putting it on paperwork, and maybe someday it'll freaking pay off for us. And we'll look like a bunch of heroes to some grant somewhere. Something awesome.
Wouldn't that be beautiful?
Wouldn't it be beautiful?
Sounds good.
It looks good on paper.
We sure do.
I'd entertain a motion.
I move to proceed with this plan to purchase a 2022 Ford F-250 service truck and from John North Ford with the Reading service body, the snowplow prep kit from Kansas Truck, and price $30,000. Well, okay, price $49,918 with less a trade to be negotiated later, and also to enter into an agreement with Flint Hills Bank for 3 years financing, 3.25%.
It's quite an emotion.
That was beautiful.
Yeah,
That was lovely.
I
Say it again.
I read it right off the
I missed that
paper.
first part. Can you do that?
I'm cheating.
I got it.
Cash
Sorry.
face is compliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll second.
Holy moly.
Motion is second to approve this plan, what Justin said. All in favor? Merry Christmas, Mike.
Well, no. I will get
Christmas
the
too.
truck locked in and let Kansas Truck know because they do have this body in stock. I was like, we're looking at like May. That's good. He goes, well, I'm quoting you what's in stock. So we'll get our name on that.
All I can tell you is having a business, I like to rotate my vehicles through there because when you get stuck somewhere, you can't sell anything, you can't run a business. We run 3 businesses in this town, gas, water, and the city. Thank you. That was wonderful.
We're in such better shape than we were when.
Oh, we were pathetic.
Started
Joe
here.
worked on all those
Yeah.
vehicles and kept them, money in yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
He worked on things that shouldn't have been worked on. Yeah, but that's just the way he was. God bless him. Let's see. Stephanie. Come on,
I'm done. Yes.
Oh, he's
That'd
grinning over here.
Thank you, Stephanie. At 8 o'clock. That's late.
I got him checked off here.
Okay. Really, all you guys have is a financial sheet.
Mhm.
I was going to talk about this. Okay. Email.
Yeah, yes.
So Dolly reached out to Keith Finney with F&T Structures, and he emailed me about the IGA building. Basically what he does is he does a structural inspection and then he reports back. And the purpose of the inspection is to determine the structural integrity of the building, provide recommendations for either removal or repair. his services would be $540. But then we use that recommendation to reach out to like our own contractors, and then they would give us an estimate. So this is just like precursor to get an estimate to see how much it would cost to either repair or
Still for
Remove.
$540.
The way I
that's
found
pretty
this
cheap.
fellow
Yeah.
is I asked Mike. Mike told me to ask Kramer's. I asked Kramer's. Kramer's didn't have any idea. So then I started looking things up in the phone book. Dan Phillips from the lake is an engineer, and I said, "You're an engineer. You do stuff with roads and bridges, right?" And he said, "Yeah, but that's not a building." And he said he recommended highly this company, and this guy's down to earth.
oh yeah. I talked to him on the phone. He knew what
Very
he was
down
talking
to earth.
about. for
That's
sure.
right.
Where they
He
from?
will,
Topeka.
he's from Topeka. He will inspect the buildings next door. He would like to get in there because
Yes.
his goal is to try to make sure nothing gets hurt. He'll need to get into the basement of the
Yeah.
bank. The bank.
Yeah.
Because he wants to see how everything's connected. So he really seems to know. And he'd be glad to answer any questions you guys have.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to be out here in the next couple of weeks. The bill, Prairie Wind is sold, by the way. And I think, did you tell him that last week?
Stay on topic.
It's sold. These, the people that are buying it, families from Omega and, what? You looking?
Let the squirrel go. Let's go back to this.
Oh my goodness.
I know, I get excited when I talk about it, but the
We're
selling,
excited about this.
but the
Yes, I am.
selling of the building, we can do that. We can now work on the IGA.
So do we need to improve this or we?
I mean.
Do I understand for $540 we're gonna get
For
somebody to come and inspect
inspection.
you?
And then he
Especially
will.
Recommendation.
I say
yes,
get
a
him to-
recommendation.
Yes, please.
Well, at least then you have something to give to contractors or
Right.
to look
Do we need a
Professional.
motion?
at something.
Yes, you do.
I move to hire F&T Structures to come here and inspect the IGA building
I second.
For $540.
for $540
Doesn't have to be that specific.
plus tax.
And 9 cents.
What he does. Nope.
Yeah,
he
we're
is
city.
540.
Don't have tax.
All in favor? And I'd like to also add that this gentleman told me, asked for different information, and then I told him that I would have her send him an official letter, because it sounded like he wanted an official bid. He wanted to give an official bid, so that's what it is. But I was a little bit worried about I looked for 3 months. And then when Dan walked in one day, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know Dan Phillips, don't you? And, yeah. And Kramer said
did not.
he knew him, so. Anyway,
Great. That's all I have.
thank you, Stephanie.
Yep.
Hey, I have a quick question here on this.
The
The year-to-date amount, is that number including the money that we were going to spend on the wall that has not been built? It's not including that?
No, because we didn't spend that.
What's that?
Oh.
On the lake?
Okay.
Yep, that's year to date.
That's not
expenses.
good news.
If you went with the smaller portion.
Mhm.
Because it was gonna go over,
But next year is supposed to be.
the other part.
It is. I mean, yeah. You also have to look at like we were talking about before the meeting. They don't give us much authority in the lake, which I don't completely grasp. But like you're still right now. I mean, you're operating checking. You're still ending with a pretty high number. So why?
What was the bid you ended up?
Like
accepting?
60 grand, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, the one you accepted.
30.
No.
No, for the small
was
one,
like-
it's like,
14 was it?
16,000.
yeah, it wasn't.
14.
I think
Yeah,
she's
just for
pretty
the,
close. I was gonna
the
say
small
16, but
so you
14.
basically, if that got done, you would take the 16 off that 43 in cash you still have. Now, the 60 or whatever it was for the whole deal, that's why I pulled a flag on the playroom thing and said, we're not gonna have that much cash at the end of the year, which we
Mhm.
wouldn't have.
And we
So,
really are gonna have, you guys will really have problems doing anything out there until you get that wall done, because the current just takes everything away. Any sand that you would want to put down, it would be gone. It's ruining your cement.
yeah, but next year, hopefully, budget wise, should be able to
But you
make
also,
that the priority expenditure. You know, we have to transfer.
yeah, it
15,000.
has to be the priority.
Yeah,
expenditure
we have to
for
transfer the 15,000 to the reserve and
So
then
there
make
we
that the priority expenditure.
both walls, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and
we're
also
carrying that
on your
over.
bait shop, your
obviously.
foundation is getting eroded too, so the whole thing looks like it wants to just eat it up on the side.
I
So
know,
can't
it's
wait
horrible.
until they get that in there for you, so.
So we did approve that wall.
Mm-hmm.
And how they
The
done it?
small portion.
They couldn't.
They
They
can't do
couldn't,
it.
They couldn't
haven't
get to
been
it.
able to yet.
That's what I was saying. I didn't think it was done.
No.
So we haven't paid anything either.
Because once it gets done, then you can start making it back
But
when
it's
it was
still-
before.
Still on the plans.
It's still gonna happen. It's just
Oh,
weather
really?
permitting. And
Yeah, this year, you think?
You make
Okay.
a lawnmower attachment.
Dry, right?
Don't look at anything else. Hush.
I want to roll.
I mean, as long as there's no incorrect entries, which obviously we
We've
haven't
obviously
done the audit yet.
Yes.
I haven't, done anything like that yet, so it could vary slightly. I wouldn't think it would be that much, but as long as there are no incorrect entries, then like that's it.
It's the first time I've noticed the revenue and the expense of the gas fund. It's
Ooh,
just
yeah.
like holy crap.
Isn't that amazing? We're only 156% over our budget.
I know.
Yeah. Because it got cold for about 6 days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
For a long time.
No.
Yeah.
Been expensive for about 6 days too.
Yes, 2 weeks.
Yep. Is it my turn?
Yes, ma'am.
I guess if you didn't make it to the fall festival, we had a wonderful turnout and gorgeous weather, and I think it was everything we needed it to be. To
That
be
was
honest.
awesome.
And if anybody worries about the businesses on Main Street, I made twice as much this year as I did the last festival.
The last actual
Good to
festival.
know.
Wow.
Because,
Good
well,
to know.
well, and that's, maybe I should say more, I was very happy with the day. I was exhausted because the guy that I had was going to work for me so I could go play all day, got sick, so I say that. But everybody kept coming in and telling me how much fun they were having. And I did get to go down there and do the kids. And that was
Well,
great.
we did a terrible job counting, but we're estimating 500 plus.
Oh,
I really have no idea what we got. I mean, if somebody counted, please tell me because I'd like to
Right.
tell other people. I know we sold at least 550 in food items, but I know it's way more than that. So I think that's great. That means a lot of people ate. So
Had a lot of cars.
we did have, I think I had about 30, 35 cars. I had people that went, we'll be back, we'll have more friends. So I know we'll do better next year.
Heard that from a couple of friends too.
Obviously we have notes to improve on, but that's stuff we noticed that nobody else really seen. And there's a couple
They were
things that other people.
having fun. They were having
So it was great, yeah. Space was just that parking. We just have to, I think we're gonna invest in some roadblocks and just
For sure.
make it all open so it's not cars. Yes.
What was the count on the raffle for the beef?
What do you mean count?
How much
Oh,
did they earn?
well, minus costs. It wasn't a deal breaker, I guess. I think we made 160 off of it. So it wasn't
That's
huge.
all?
But we paid for
They
the
got-
beef.
yeah.
So it was 340 to 365. I can't remember what my exact number was. One of those two.
But minus, I think it was
Minus
100
beef.
for the
I
beef.
sold more tickets.
I know. And you had $100 bill, so somebody obviously threw in a big amount there. So I don't know. We didn't really get any. I mean, we broke even on the park stuff, so we didn't really get a massive donation, but we weren't really working that hard on that side either.
Kind of looked like you guys had a lot of sponsors compared to previous years. I mean, it
I
was
feel like, yeah,
a pretty
we
yes.
extensive list.
we had
Yeah.
people from last year that kind of rolled into this year, so that did help. But then other
Still,
people donated twice. So
But there was
we
a
were
lot
happy.
more people that were asked this year too.
Yeah, we did
Sending
push.
letters.
We
I
did
sent
push
a
pretty hard.
lot more letters
The
out.
one thing I think we
Yeah.
need to beef up is our parade. We struggled to like know that people were gonna be there for the parade, so that'll be something I
Would
think
you
we'll
like to
work on.
offer prizes?
We do have prizes.
We do.
Prizes. I didn't do a good job of
Well, if you
advertising.
would've
I think the
added
problem
to it.
is getting the school to want to
It is.
participate.
Part
They
of it's
just
the
do
school.
not want to
Yeah.
participate and have not for years.
We're hoping
Yeah,
that this year,
sadly.
once they hear like
big.
kind of how big it was,
Mhm.
maybe they'll be more interested in coming out.
Seemed like there were more booths.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah.
So
30.
what? 20? Yeah. Was it
30?
30?
Yeah.
30 vendors. About 35 cars. I
School
didn't
band,
register
Because
every
at one point I
car.
looked up, I'm like, where are all these tents coming
That's good.
I have blinders on all day anyway, but I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus, where are all these people?
Oh, really? That's weird.
It looked great.
I
It
had
was
lots
Said they
of people
told them the
telling
night
me-
before they wanted to go to something else, so they canceled it like 8
Oh,
o'clock.
yeah.
that
Oh yeah,
morning.
they canceled
We
that
did have
one.
some last
8
minute
o'clock
no
that
Who's
morning.
that?
The
The
band.
band.
Wow.
That was like the one
Decided
thing,
they
it's
wanted
like,
to go to another
they
They
don't
don't
event,
have
so
a very
they
big band anyway out there, guys.
We also were supposed to have Shriners and they just didn't come.
Yeah.
They
Really?
no call, no
They
show.
no called, no come. They even confirmed it and
Yeah.
didn't show. So I don't know what
Well,
happened.
that ain't the first time.
Really?
Nope.
Yeah.
Dang. We've been calling
We'll
them
just
the
have to
day
remind them.
before. You better
Well,
be
it's
here.
colonized Columbus. It was all over.
They're the army
Now
did
you
that to
have to
somebody
let
from
me know you
military
talked to
on it a couple
Shriners.
weeks ago too.
I didn't even
That's
think
not
about
real
Knights of Columbus. They probably would dress up for it.
I said the army did that a couple weeks ago for military on
Well,
it.
I can definitely twist some
Probably
arms.
related to a lot of them.
I'm sure I can twist some arms for that. They could throw a Tootsie Roll or
If you're
something.
not in a
Andy,
life
next year, remind me and I'll talk to Ron's brother about Shriners.
We need to know somebody on
Drew's
the
a
side.
Shriner.
He is.
Yeah.
Does he drive it?
To
Little
drive
monkey guy.
around the full of.
No, he doesn't have a car, but he is technically a
Dang
Shriner.
it.
Oh,
Who's that?
man.
Ron's brother's got a motorcycle.
We need it.
They don't want to get
Well,
high
I mean,
class
like-
license or drive one of those things. Or,
I think it's something pay your dues, you're a Shriner.
I was
Yeah.
pretty impressed with all the bands.
yeah.
Thanks.
And
And the
I'm
heaters.
in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Whoever
I don't
came
know
up with
how
those
they do it.
heaters.
Another one's in
Oh,
there.
Good.
God, we didn't need
I don't know that name anyway.
We're not
Okay,
doing
this
that.
guy's the one that sent us all to the
Perfect.
circus for years.
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Anyway, off topic, I guess. I just wanted to say we had a great turnout, and I'm impressed that many people came not knowing what they were going to get when they showed up. We've had nothing but compliments on it.
All of them deserve.
Thank
Thanks.
you. We definitely probably won't run as long a day next year. Just FYI.
I loved it because I had something to do in the middle of the day and I was able to experience the morning and
We
go in
had
the
people,
afternoon and come
by the
back
way, I never
and
got to
put
tell
the
you
last
this.
concert.
That purple tractor that
Yeah.
came
Mhm.
Yeah.
they came from Texas to the K-State game, and I was chatting with them.
Oh, really?
They were like, we came all the way up for the K-State game. I'm like, and you graced us with your presence? I didn't realize they had the tractor at the time I was talking
That
to
was a
them.
cool
Yeah.
Wasn't
tractor.
that
They brought that up
That
on
was
a trailer
great.
just to run it through
That
our
was a
parade. I
That's
was
cool.
like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was awesome.
First purple John Deere I've ever
Yes.
seen.
Yeah.
I know, it really
And
caught
hopefully the
attention.
last.
They had Jocelyn and Declan jump in to
Yeah,
take
like
a picture
this
of it.
guy.
I was
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have a picture of it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you gotta send it to me.
Oh,
like, oh, we should have
Give it to my brother and say this is it.
I still need to announce
Yeah.
everything. Okay, sorry.
Alright.
The other part is, park-wise, we haven't done a ton this year. We have not run any large fundraisers or even probably small ones, I don't think. So we've been trying to work on actually putting things in the park, and we are talking to playground reps right now to make us a design. So when I have more information about what we want to go with, I'll bring that back to you guys, but it should be within the next month, maybe January if the holidays get crazy. But I just want to give you a heads up. That's what we're planning on, and I'm hoping, I'm not gonna, I guess, say for sure, but I'm hoping next year when we do sidewalks that maybe we could do the culvert side. I cannot remember culvert to save my life. To close that up and get that sidewalk there, because it does make a massive difference, especially when we're trying to run events that people cannot cross in that section.
On the north side of the park, you mean?
Is it? I don't know directions like
Yeah.
that. 4th Street.
Over there by us.
Yeah.
North
Where,
side.
where we had the patio zoo.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
North side by the tennis court. That side, I would really like to get that sidewalk finished so that it's less of a headache when it comes, because people should be able to walk across.
Yeah.
That would be
that-
lovely.
Anyway, so that's I'm gonna throw that 5 cents in there.
Is that going to be the 6 foot too, the wider?
Yeah,
sidewalk?
all the outside should be the 6 foot, and then we'll have a smaller one that kind of goes through.
Okay.
So, outside that, I don't have anything else, but probably we'll be making big plans for a new fundraiser as well. So,
Well, thank you, Annie.
yeah.
Sally, do you have anything?
No, I don't, but I do want to make a comment to you. Deanna said next year on the petting zoo, she will make sure she has more animals for you.
Awesome.
Aw, that'd be great.
Well, here you go, Deanna. I didn't know you guys were coming, or I would have said something about it.
I'm telling you.
I knew.
She knew.
Telling you.
Yeah, it was
I
on
didn't
the
know.
thing, it was on the schedule.
If anything got missed online, it's all on me, so I'll take blame for that. Okay. I just didn't see it till like the very last. and I
Well,
was like,
4-H
crap.
was supposed to help, but as you guys seen, it was just beginning.
All right. It's your turn.
I'm done.
Oh, good.
Okay, so we've already done purchase request.
Mine had nothing to do
No,
with
that was just my department report.
Oh, I thought that was all.
Don't ask for using purchase requests.
All right.
Over there.
Any purchase requests or work orders? Okay. Do we have any new city business?
I had something quickly. I had received an email about this grant program for downtown buildings at risk of collapsing. It's called HEAL, HEAL. Let's see. So it's made possible through the collaboration with the Community Development Division, Kansas Main Street, and the Governor's Office of Rural Prosperity at the Kansas Department of Commerce. But the Zoom meeting to register was today, of course. But from what I've read, I don't think that it was like it's closed to us now.
Does this have to be historical?
It can be or
It doesn't
not.
have to be. Okay.
It does not have to be. It just has to. You just have to have less than 50,000 residents in your city or town.
Well, might be close.
I'll put it in the counter again.
So, is this some? I just want to know if this is something we'd be interested in. Because if we do put out in the application, nominating organizations include the city, obviously the city council, county. Nonprofit organizations, Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development, Small Business Development, and local community foundations.
So are you saying like
I
we
would
need
have
their
zoomed-
support? So like any nonprofits
No,
that are here?
they would then suggest after you put in, they would suggest for you to be considered or your building. But I think it's $50,000 per building, if I remember. Trying to.
Here, I actually found a thing on it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too.
Jim sent something, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I was thinking matching grants. Let's see, matching. There's eligible expenses for the revitalization of historic properties. Now define historic.
Built a long time ago.
Right.
Check.
Must show potential as economic drivers in the community. Shortage of buildings across the state. Blah, 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 blah.
What's
Fuel
what's the,
applications will be accepted November 8th through the 19th, with awards announced November 23rd.
Wow, that's quick.
what's
That's
the
like rocking and rolling.
what's the match look like? I mean, is it 1-to-1? Is it 10-to-1? Like how much
I'll
leverage?
send
do
you
they have?
this that I have.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
just
please
sent it
do.
to everyone too.
The matching grants will help address.
For once,
I'm guessing 1-to-1.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah. If KDOC is KDOC, did I write that down there? No.
Probably
it's-
wrong.
Department of-
Oh, okay. I was thinking something else. I was thinking Department of Corrections.
We just got
Um,
Even better.
We're all going to the Department of Correction
You
now.
don't care where the money comes from. But yeah, another way they do stuff is they like you kind of tell them what you will match, and then they'll give you bonus points if you match more of it. But
It says
Yeah.
emergency grants provide immediate relief for buildings at risk of collapse. Those applications from November 8th to 19th, awards announced 23rd. All non-emergency applications will be accepted until December 20th, with awards announced January 10th, 22. Eligible properties must have historical or architectural significance.
There's the other part that I was not familiar with. Architectural significance. And
Architectural.
we're full of that in this town.
Full of something.
it's historical. I mean, come on, don't short ourselves. I mean,
We are historical, just not registered.
Yeah.
Somebody comes driving by.
It's
It's technicality.
Famous with a boom. Go boom.
Okay,
Happy tap tap.
did you send that to
Network
everybody?
standing businesses,
All right,
housing,
send it to
agriculture,
everybody,
civic
so-
engagement, childcare.
Yes.
If somebody's interested in doing that, you better hook onto it.
so is it more like a, we apply and then those funds become available for somebody that wants to use it. Like if you're a building owner and your
Owners
roof's
must
falling in,
apply.
or, okay, so it's kind of a beforehand deal and they have to commit. Okay.
It could even be, it looks like even for private entities, we'd have to be sponsored by an organization, city, something
They're matching.
Okay.
on there.
Yeah, still, if we make it available and somebody does it, I mean, that's, and even if, we're able to kick in something, I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but kind of look at the overall scope of what's being offered, but, if that's something where, yeah, we could help match that too. That would be an idea. I'm not saying it's a great idea, but
I think it's a reasonable idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
You guys, well, if y'all could
so
chew on it a little bit.
so goes Main Street, so goes the town.
Yeah.
You just
I've
lose your
done my
identity.
share of saving
So-
buildings, excuse me. McGivern case.
You on
I
that?
really think you guys ought to chew on that, look at that grant thing and see what you can do. It sounds like a good deal, frankly. I'm gonna look at
Sounds
it.
awesome.
I'm
Just
looking
saying,
at it.
just laugh in their face. Well, I'm not gonna, we're talking about McGivern, you got the counter offer, I'm not gonna, to sell that. It is what it is.
I don't like it.
Does it sound like the old counter offer we didn't like?
Well, the difference is that they want to keep the dock and they won't pay you the money. So they'll pay you a small nominal and slightly remunerative.
To their credit, there was a 2 in our price,
Yeah.
so there's that.
So basically, if I'll pause for a moment to see if there's a motion to counter offer or.
Well, this
accept
was the
bid.
response.
We told them to get rid of their dock and give us $22K, and they said, we'll keep our dock and give you $2K.
Yeah, well, they did agree to tear down the bench and allow the.
Oh, how nice.
Well, I'm just.
Tear down the bench, you mean like just pick it up and haul it off over their shoulder?
And whittle the
That's
sidewalk
better.
back
Get
down to
rid
where
of
it's
the pad
supposed to
and
be.
get rid of the pad. Wasn't there a pad underneath that bench?
I think they were gonna leave the pad, weren't they?
I think it was all gonna be 4 feet, so.
It was supposed to be for now public use, right?
Yep, and they agreed to that. The difference is. They want
Well,
to
they
take the
also
money and
have
run, huh?
agreed to something that has already been in that area. So, I mean, they couldn't technically not agree to it because it's not theirs. So,
I'm not
right?
gonna, yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not selling this.
So that's not doing us any favors, agreeing to something that's already.
Hearing no
Like
motion,
4?
hearing no
Mhm.
motion.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
At this point, we've spent so much money, time, and effort, and years that I don't want to budge. That's still that's my opinion still.
Next item on the agenda.
I do have a question for that. We still have that pending doc thing. We just putting that on the next agenda, maybe.
Ending what thing?
The doc
Yeah, they
request
filed
for
the
the-
dog.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
And I think I've
just
heard that.
pass it, just pass it. Yeah, put it on,
The next agenda.
yeah. next
Okay.
agenda.
You mean put it off, not pass it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you're back.
Passing
Let's
means,
be clear.
Pass it on to the next
Table it.
meeting.
yeah.
Table
Got it.
it.
Okay.
Table it till May.
May of 2051.
Yeah, maybe.
Really?
Way down the road.
No, that's the next meeting.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All
If
right.
we
That's,
must.
that's what we meant.
All right. Is there anything else? Because
There was something I forgot to sneak under the new city business, which was the scanning of documents that we had been talking about to try to save some of our deteriorating documents. Do you have time to be doing that?
no.
Okay, so then my next thing is could we hire our assistant city clerk a few hours?
Carrie.
Yeah, to start scanning those.
We have to, I don't know what,
Don't-
yes, and I would love that. My thing is, like, I don't know where she's gonna do it, because, like, I have to have my computer and, like, filing it. We need to come up with, like, a system, because, like, she could use that. That is gonna be a crazy amount of work. And I just don't know if it is worth it, I guess, for you guys. I don't know.
Should we entertain an outside person that does that?
scans documents.
Well, I don't know. I would love for Carrie to do that too.
Didn't we do that under the first, I forget what that first slush money that went through the county to the city, and didn't we scan a bunch of stuff or maps or stuff?
Maybe that
It
might
was
be a
maps, I
question.
believe. I vaguely remember.
Maybe.
Yeah, because then we wouldn't have the ability to do that here because the glass is only so big on the copier. But
And it was so long ago. Chris had said something like, I don't know if it was a different scanner. I don't know what it was. Mike might know.
yeah,
But like, so basically she would have to scan it in on that and then find it in the scan documents folder. But she's going to have, I don't even know if this computer like is hooked up to to receive that. You know what I mean? Which she
seems like
might
we
be.
always
She
have
might
a
be able
problem when
to.
we talk about stuff that our computer's outdated or we have this. So
Well,
should we just
it-
buy a computer?
I mean,
Do we
mine
need a
is
computer or a
good.
printer or a scanner? What do we
Mine
need?
is good. I mean, like all of the above.
But we always need a computer besides yours.
Right.
So like, could we upgrade and get a brand new one, and then you could give your old
And
one?
set this room up here with all that stuff in it, what they're talking about, because if you're talking about a computer, scanner,
I
printer, that's
feel like
so we just
there is one, and maybe it's just not hooked up yet. I don't know. I wasn't here when all of the COVID money and all of the stuff was purchased. I was on maternity leave. But didn't you? I don't know. That's my question.
why don't we have her research that?
Mike,
He's a good one.
I thought I heard.
Why don't we
him.
have, why don't we give that, that might be a nice chore
That was
that
Robert.
Stephanie can look into.
Sure.
And you should
He's coming.
pop in and remind her every once in a while.
I think he's out there.
But she's gonna need help. Peanuts available equipment. You know, it's not like it's gonna go anywhere. Once you get it, you'll be able to use it for other things, so.
Yeah,
Cause it's
that'd be
what you
good.
wanna do is important. That stuff is historical. We should do it.
I mean, there's so much stuff, and like now I'm like busting at the seams in that room. Like I don't even know what you do with that stuff.
So then
That's
maybe
just
we
an
need a,
FYI.
we
with
need
the
a,
paper.
some bed.
Yeah,
We got room back here to put a building.
How big of a scanner surface do
Yeah.
we need though? A lot of those books, the ones that used to be right there, well, they're back there now.
And
Those are the
see,
newspapers.
those I wasn't even gonna worry about.
I know those are newspapers.
The signal has been coming in.
That's
The
our
lady that
entire
works at
town's
the
history
signal.
of newspaper.
Question.
Yep.
This computer back here, it's all hooked up to receive, like, if I scan something in from Canon to receive back here, and then Carrie could potentially. Brett was asking about having Carrie come in and like scan documents. What would we need for that?
It's on the server. Yeah, I mean, it's
So
connected
she
to the
would be
server.
able to just put it on.
So, yeah, I mean, you can
In the
pull up
file.
the scan documents folder on the server off of that.
I haven't been back there.
Well, it should be.
Okay.
As long as it doesn't need to update. But yeah, it's
Okay.
fully on the server. As far as scanning that stuff though,
you just
the Canon won't.
No, not
do it.
those.
Okay.
I think old files that are in that back room. Just start
Yeah.
scanning stuff, which I don't even know.
Yeah, and that's like you guys get together and like
Mike
sit
can
down.
pick
And,
where you start.
but that's the thing, like pick some names of folders because you're gonna like, okay, well, how are you gonna
Right.
categorize things, and then start going through it, and then start putting it over
Resolutions,
those folders.
ordinances.
Yeah. You know, sit down, make a list, go in the computer on the server, make a list of folders, and then dictate what goes into all these different folders. Yeah, no, that would be cool.
yeah, you just scan by subject. I mean,
Let's talk about that stuff. on my brain.
scan every
Okay.
applications all at once, and
I mean,
then
if she wants to, it'd be digging for her.
Well,
oh, yeah.
we need to keep her busy and out of trouble.
There you go.
It's monotonous. I know that. We always like make it a point of work when we get an intern to not make them their job just copy jockey. But
Well, she can always go to the bank or go to the, send her out,
That's what I
air
wanna do.
her out.
Stephanie's like, don't hold
I
in
need
on
to
it.
watch
That's the
the
enjoyable
videos.
part of my job.
there we go. Yeah,
You could go together, swinging your
that's a few
hands.
hours at a time. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to have
So-
a limit?
What are you on the limit?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying, as far as
Like-
dollar amount. I mean, on time,
10,
money,
Are
whatever.
we on money? I mean,
I would pay her the same. What is it?
General's
I'd pay her
fine
the
right
same of
now.
what we pay her. now.
oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't talk about adjusting.
Well, I would
the
think
wages,
it
I'm
would
just saying.
be, depending on what document
General.
she's doing, it'd probably be split.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I mean,
So
Yeah,
Yeah,
we definitely
time.
do that.
But I mean,
come
it's
out
gonna
all
take,
the buckets here.
let's just say 1,000 hours. So does it matter if we allot it out 10 hours per week, or we just
or
allot
do
it out
like
till it's
a
done?
couple days a week.
You think we got 1,000 hours worth of work? I mean,
I
I'm
just
serious. I don't know, but
I have no
I
idea.
mean that's like half a work year.
I think once she
At
gets
40
started,
hours.
she'll come up with a system that'll make it more productive. I mean,
Yeah.
I know
would
it's
give
not
crap
a
to the banker's
speedy
boxes.
process.
So
just
That's what
because
I was
putting that
saying.
stuff over, so you're
The
not
Martin
rescanning
girls have been
stuff. Like
speeding
it
that
can
guy's
eventually get
archive from
refiled,
the
but a
school.
lot of it needs to just come out and go into storage.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
was, where do we have storage? That's what I was just talking
You
about.
can put a shed back there.
Shred it.
Scripts.
Yeah.
Just as our lawyer.
Yeah.
Once you get it scanned,
That's what
can
we
you?
do.
Sure.
I've heard that.
We,
You can
we
do it
hired
if it's over
somebody
15
to
years
scan
old.
it, and they scan most of it, but
A lot of gas documents, the life of the system.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
The
weird.
life of the
Just
system.
walk in.
Okay.
Once again, how about, all right. I'll wait till I sit up there and then I'll say something. But you should be putting a building back here, a small, a she shed or something, and put it for storage.
Oh,
Well, I
I'm
mean,
looking-
those Amish, oh, I was trying
For
to,
Stephanie, obviously.
those Amish sheds are really good. I call them she sheds because people like to call them that. I do anyway. And they're really solid, they're really good, and you can have it for storage and let's not talk about that because we still have a lot of
I
stuff.
mean, I don't know about that,
Once-
but we are
once it's-
busting at the seams in this
Yeah,
office.
once it's-
There's no
Maybe you
storage.
could use them to shore up the walls of the AGA.
Oh, you have space for eggs.
Make
There you
that
go.
a she shed.
Yeah, they're sitting on the floor back there.
Hush.
Now we're into it.
The only thing I was gonna say is you just don't wanna, I mean, if she's all about it, create another full-time position where you get into capers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You need to limit it at something.
Oh, that's
Limited
that's
at
how you figure
part-time.
out.
Not,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
not
you
at
don't wanna have to be.
40 hours a week for sure.
All right, you
I
figure
mean, yeah, I
it out.
don't know. I'm
Right,
just
there's your time.
like cap it at 20 and just say, well, if you work up to 20, that's fine. Kind of work as much as you need to, or as much work
If she
as.
can. I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't want to give her so many hours that she's going to get all burnt out right away. Also,
yeah, because that is such a.
mundane.
And I would say
Oh,
work
yeah.
boring.
5 to 20 hours a week, whatever you.
Oh yeah.
At least somebody's coming in and it's started.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that we can
Absolutely.
also get. I think that we should get her input on how many hours,
Yeah.
because if she's like, "Oh man, I'm all about this. Let's kick some ass and get it done."
If she even wants to do it, I mean, if she doesn't want to do it, I mean, we could put it out on the street. I mean, as
Right.
far as
She's mentioned it to
Hired
me,
out, so.
like in the past. I mean, I think she'd be for it.
okay.
And maybe she wants to do 20 hours to start out, and then she's like, I think I meant 5.
Cool.
Yeah,
You get
I mean,
five.
that'd be
Gets us further down the road.
That's 5 more hours
For
worth
sure.
that we didn't have before.
I wanted to ask you about was, do we have some way to get the boat out to the lake for Sally?
The boat.
Yeah. Or like
Don't you have it winterized?
a
Well,
trailer
I
or
actually
something.
just parked it today
Was
Well,
it full
'cause
of water?
a little bit.
So did you winterize it or something?
I drained it.
So then it's not going to be used until leaves are back on the trees? I'm just trying to.
It could be. Where's the key
The
at?
leaves are falling, so they're not going to be on the tree. So if she goes around as the public officer and takes pictures of the shoreline and the docks and stuff, she'll get better visibility when there's no leaves there. So it's not super cold, so it's the optimal time to do it. So I didn't know if there was a way that she could get the boat onto the water, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean,
Is it
Without
working?
wasting half of your day to do it.
yeah, I mean, it could sit on the water for a while. I mean, weather permitting, that's the thing. I mean, if it's getting down into the 30s and at least the block drained, I don't worry about, necessarily the fogging and stuff anymore on that. That motor's been through absolute hell and still runs for some reason. So, yeah, rather than, I mean, we don't spend $500 a year taking it to Lakeside anymore, but pull the drains, drain the block out, make sure everything's out of the motor so it doesn't freeze and break. But I don't care. It's up to you. I mean, if that's something want to do. I mean, this time of year it's iffy. I mean, it's supposed to be 30. What, one day like this?
I
week?
was thinking that we could probably at least get 2 months before it's like January, February, and it's just like you're not sending anybody out there in about in January, February. Well, I guess we could. Jeff Parker.
So I mentioned this airboat a while back.
What?
Will run on
What?
ice too.
Airboat?
Hey.
Who are you gonna get in there?
Oh, you could do so much work off of an airboat. All the buoys, everything. It's a nice flat deck.
If you
Get
want
right
a
up in the
street sweeper
weeds.
test or
What?
something.
What?
Oh,
We could sell the Bayliner and put it towards an airboat.
Look into a bid with that street sweeper.
Heck, we could use
You know, we
that
could
as a
put that
street sweeper.
airboat on a trailer and just drag it through the streets and it'll blow so it's clean.
Oh, we're gonna get along great, Michelle.
Okay, so do you guys need a motion on hiring Carrie to do that, or are we just gonna increase her hours and just have her do it as
I guess
assignment?
ask her first.
Yeah.
I'll
Ask her
move. I'm
first.
sure that
Well,
she's.
I mean, you're.
Yeah, we can
you're
just
the
expand her hours.
supervisor, right?
Yeah.
So the
She can just
supervisor
sign
can
it.
do it.
Don't
Just
just
So
call
we
her
don't
to
have
work.
to
So
go
we don't have
as
to
long
Don't need a
motion.
motion, no.
Yeah, as
Within
long
our
as we're gonna
authority.
pay her the same amount and everything, that should be great.
Sweet.
All right,
Sounds good.
okay, are we done? All right, I asked, because I was sick the last meeting, I was not able to be here to participate in the discussion that we did not have about what all's going on at the lake with Debbie. And the $4,000 that you decided, you guys made a motion not to give her. So I think that now that and she's here, we can have that discussion with her on why you wanted to take it all away from her and not parts and bits and pieces or anything like that. And also, with the amount of revenues that she brought in from the lake, is there not some share on that in her contract? That's what I would like to discuss. So if you would like to,
Why is this not being brought up to the lake meeting?
because we don't,
That's what you told Tim, when Tim brought it up to begin with.
right? But we've talked about things about the lake before.
I know, I'm just asking you.
But why didn't you, but because you didn't wait.
It was late.
Dolly, I think at the meeting prior to last meeting, Tim made it clear that we were going to be making a decision at the next meeting because we talked about it.
Careful, you're talking about what was talked about in executive session. Because we did not have a discussion about what you guys were going to do. It was an executive session.
Okay, so then how do you get to the truth here without, because you're acting like nothing was said, nothing.
Because
Can I go into executive session
No.
for non-elected personnel?
No,
Because I'm confused here at
no.
what
I'll
you're,
second the motion.
what
Hold on,
you
hold on,
can
hold on,
say and
hold
what
on.
you can't say.
You can't, I don't think you can do that for, did we have this
Yes, you did.
independent contractor?
Yes, you did.
So you can do it under attorney-client privilege.
I'll move that.
How long?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, attorney-client privilege.
Who present?
And you can all, attorney and.
The same that
counsel.
were present at the last one, which was everybody, right?
Well,
Stephanie included.
I'm gonna, if you're doing attorney-client privilege, you gotta keep it within the
Elected personnel.
and interested
Okay,
parties of
then
the city
mayor,
officers.
council, and you.
Okay. 10 minutes for that purpose. That's the motion.
Don't see why we're doing this.
I'm trying to, the reason why I want to do this is because she's directly saying that we talked about accepting executive session. So how do you explain yourself if you can't say what was being said when she said nothing?
What
I know
I'm
that probably
saying is
doesn't make
we need,
sense, but
we
Yeah,
need to
I
have
got
that
what you-
discussion
so I
now.
don't know what I need to say and what I can't say because she's calling me out right here saying,
No. I'm saying that we didn't have a discussion in open meeting, so we need to have that discussion now. And you can say what you want to say to her now. But when you guys made that motion at the last meeting, you said, as per our last meeting, the discussion we had at the last meeting, and then you withdrew her.
Well, I didn't take that as being a discussion of what was an executive. As I understood it, it was that was a topic of general discussion of previous meetings, and you wanted to take action at that meeting proactively.
And yet there was no discussion with Deb.
But it was stated that.
Well, it doesn't have to be a
Meeting.
discussion, I suppose. I mean, it's up to the council what kind of discussion they want to have on that subject today or tomorrow or whenever.
And you guys didn't think it was, well, let's have that now.
Well, okay. So we decided that we were going to,
Who's we?
the council, and I believe you were present.
Oh, but we're
We
going
all
back to the other
decided
one.
after we talked about this, remember the little book? So we all talked that we were going to discuss this and make a decision at the next meeting. The next meeting came, you were not here.
was
I understand
sick.
that she was on the agenda. From what I was told, you told her she didn't need to come, but
I
we
didn't-
still talked about what we said we were going to talk about, and we made the
Did you guys-
decision
Did they have
that we
discussion?
said we were going to
Um,
make. I just wanted to make that clear. Hopefully I didn't say anything that was that was my point from the very beginning, was that we set out to make the decision at the very next meeting,
Which was the late meeting.
which was the lake meeting. Everybody knew it and was aware of it, and we made the decision then. So that's clear, because you said it differently to make it sound that that's not what happened. So I wanted to clarify that that's what it is.
Well, I don't know why you couldn't have waited, because I wanted to be there and I was sick. I'm sorry. I pulled myself out. It was a responsible thing to do. I had to go and get tested. I was negative. Thank you very much. And that was a responsible thing to do. I am her representative. I wanted to be there with her. Particular meeting that where you were going to discuss. You were planning on discussion with her eventually, weren't you? Because you threw out, you wanted to talk about it at that one meeting, but we couldn't talk about it. We didn't talk about it in open session. And so, no, we needed to have that conversation, but you did not have it at the last meeting.
I just wish that when you told her not to come to last week's meeting, that you would have called Stephanie to defer back to us, that you would like for us to not make a decision. Though I will point out, when we had 3 people that were for a lake moratorium and one missed a meeting because of a heart attack, we didn't wait and dawdle on him to get back to be able to vote.
What are you talking about?
We voted.
Because that
Totally
would
something different.
but that would have changed.
No, but I'm just saying that's the scenario. He missed a meeting, it was still voted and not taken into consideration that he wasn't there. The same thing that happened to you at the last meeting. So just pointing both of those scenarios out, that it's,
But it was very consequential, the decision you made, and you should have
so
had.
was the prior one.
Ones you're really good at pulling in things that were totally off what I wanted to talk about, which was, let's have a discussion with her on what was wrong, and I want to see if indeed those things happened and if he was telling the truth. Because I don't necessarily think we have all the facts.
I was absent last time. Do you
Both times.
have the permit sales for this year versus last year even?
They should have been in your, did you get them in your box like last time?
week, I threw it in my thing and didn't.
Oh,
Uh,
Okay,
don't
sorry.
have to
I
make-
think I can quickly
Oh,
go
I could probably
through
look at my-
some of the
I can look at my
things
email.
that
Here,
Don't worry.
yeah.
led us to
Just
the
find out.
decision of what we made. If people want to.
Just under 50.
so the total is on the last
Just
page.
hold on a second. You guys,
Very last page.
Sorry, I'm just curious.
Had
Your
her.
brain started smoking.
Do you know what
From
the
all the monies.
do you know what the year before was?
it happens. Well, I'm just saying, there's a certain point at which discussions about the reasons why you do things and why they don't do things is not necessarily conducive to a legal defense. Well, so have at it.
I see,
I mean,
I see no reason to hash it out, Todd. That's why we had discussed it in executive session, because I did not feel the need to drag all of that out in public.
Yeah, and nobody's nobody's required to, at this point, to establish or defend that decision, because you essentially, each one of these council members could have had one reason only, and they all could have been different for whoever voted the way they did.
It was unanimous.
Well, yeah, that's, so,
No,
Well, abstention is an automatic yes.
well, but for
Well,
count,
it
for
truly
counting,
is.
for
Abstention
counting for
goes with the
purposes
yeses.
of,
If you abstain, it goes with the yes votes.
It just
So it's
doesn't count.
essentially
I mean,
a
the
yes
question, I think the fair question for you guys passed a motion at the last meeting about this. The first question is whether you're gonna reconsider that
exactly.
decision.
Thank you, Todd. That's what I've been thinking.
And I don't know that it helps my particular desires as far as protecting you from certain legal hazards for you guys to re-plow this field. But you do have the right to replow the field if you so desire. And I think you better tell us that that's what you're wanting to do. And the majority has to say that they want to do it. Because the motion was made and passed. Which is good as for as long as you guys desire it to be that way.
Okay, but wasn't there also in her contract that she was supposed to get a certain percentage of?
Okay, well, let's do this.
That was
Let me
Dave
put this
Dunbar's contract.
let me put this out there too. If you guys are if there's gonna be discussion about what the contract says or what it requires or what it needs, then I want to review it. Remember, I didn't write that contract. I haven't written a contract on the lake for 2 times around.
Did you write it? You wrote Dave Dunbar's contract.
Tim
Right?
wrote it, I think.
I
Didn't
didn't
you?
write it.
Do you guys want to
Okay,
talk about
sorry.
this the next meeting then?
I thought Dave
Oh.
Meeting?
brought.
Well, you guys, I mean, I'm not getting ahead of anything. I'm just saying, if there's going to be a point where somebody's going to say, what does the contract require? I do not know.
Okay. From my recollection, let me preface that. There was a $4,000 subjective bonus. It was entirely subjective that she had the opportunity to get upon the wishes of the council. And I don't know if it didn't make, but I remember I didn't have any thing in there about, prorating or partial. I'm sure it's something we could have considered, but that's how I remember it. There wasn't any kind of automatically triggering, X amount of sales, then you get, 15% over. That was in a contract in the past. Once you met a pretty high, threshold for that, which she would have met, sure. She had a lot of sales, so, but that's
But
It wasn't in there.
it wasn't said on sales.
it was not in there. It was just a subjective bonus because that's what the council wanted at the beginning of the year.
Most of the council.
Well, I have no.
I mean, that was the council. That was the consensus decision. So I don't think I'm misrepresenting that. So.
No, you're not. I'm just pointing out that I've never been in favor of the bonuses. I've made that clear the last 2 years.
Okay.
So in other words, you just want to pay people $4 an hour to work their ass off.
You guys took away $1,000 a month from her pay. She got $1,000 less every month than what Dave did. And so that was that.
Than what Dave ended at.
Dolly,
He
let's-
had increases to get to the point to where that he was. That was outrageous amounts.
as I recall, when she was applying for this position, she said she didn't even expect to get paid, and it wasn't for the money. Does
Oh,
anybody
you're
else
talking about
remember
the
that?
bonus?
It wasn't, but I didn't expect
Irregardless.
certain people to go around lying about shit that was said. My biggest
Okay.
mistake was I never recorded any conversation between Tim and I. Cause he'd come back to council and say that I said shit that I didn't say. He undermined me all summer long.
Okay, well, I'm gonna step in here and say this, as legal counsel for the city, this conversation is not productive for the continued liability situation it may force you. You guys can do whatever you want to do up to this point, but I've given you the warning. Do not go down this path right now.
My goal of having it was just talk to you guys and point out the hard work that she did. And I was going to have that kind of discussion because we did not discuss that at any time. we didn't discuss the things that she did that she didn't have to do and continually did. And she did not have enough money to hire anybody to help her except Dave, which you guys had something to say about that. But on the whole, I think most people didn't mind Dave at all. That's what I was wanting to bring out, is the fact that I thought that she had earned quite a bit of what she should have gotten.
So you're putting the words in my mouth that I never brought up any of the good things that she did. I think that I came here to this council meeting several times and pointed out positive things that she did.
At
And
the
I got
beginning, you did.
I moved to adjourn.
I second.
Can we just shut off like that? I mean, I'm not done with discussion, I guess.
That's where the votes come
I'm
in.
not going to
That's
speak
about
if I'm
it.
going to be interrupted.
No, I get it. All right.
I won't interrupt you if you want to say which one. I'm just agreeing with you. You did say it at the beginning.
I give credit where it's due, Dolly.
Hmm.
I still second.
Okay. Well, motion's been made in a second. You guys can agree to the motion, or we can have continued discussion, because I can ask for it. Is there any further discussion that you want to do?
I'd be interested in revisiting the contract and looking it over. I feel like, I don't know, but obviously I'm not going to trample on legal. Issues
I'm not,
as
and I want to make clear that I have no problem with the review of the contract. I have no problem with discussion about that in that regard. These things are starting to get into factual allegations that have perhaps not a lot of bearing on what is strictly within the bounds of the contract.
Okay. Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. You know, at a certain point, discussions of extraneous things can be harmful to all sides of this.
Okay. I'd be interested in reviewing the contract because it was a new contract last year and we had changed the way it functioned at all.
I agree with Annie.
And I wouldn't mind having Deb be here to defend herself, or at least discuss or what issues we all had, because I agree that things could have been done better, but I don't think it's 100% one way or the other. And if our contract allows us to do a portion, then I may be interested in seeking that instead of 100% no, if that makes sense. So could we move to table this to next meeting and take some time to review, and maybe even review complaints we received and things like that? Because I don't feel like it got a full factual review. I'm not saying you guys didn't talk about facts. I'm just saying it's easy over the course of 6 to 8 months to forget everything that happened. And I wouldn't mind going over stuff again, because obviously we did see some complaints from the public, but you know, were they new? Were they things that we've seen with other people and on? So that's my 2 cents, I guess. So no, do I move to discuss it next meeting or what?
That's what I think. You make a motion, and then he would make a motion, because he was agreeing, and then they could decide if they want to talk about it next
So we
meeting
can
after
do
they
two
do.
motions at once.
Well,
After-
exactly. I don't think you can do that. with
That's
a
what I
motion
was
on the
wondering.
table.
Is
Motion's
Oh,
on the
we have a
table.
motion on the table, and we're
That's-
having discussion.
That's
Okay.
discussion, but I mean, you can always put something on the agenda just by asking.
okay.
I would say that, but
Okay.
I'm open to reviewing it too. I'm open for a partial. I don't see it as a $4,000 bonus. I don't see it as a zero. I don't know where that. I don't know where that number falls. I honestly don't. But I'm not in favor of totally zero payout on that.
Do we need to vote on the adjournment?
That's
Okay. All right. Then, per the motion that we had before with Brett and Tim, all in favor to adjourn. And Annie will add that. We can add that to the next contract, obviously. I mean, to the next meeting. Yeah.
There was three in favor.
I'll abstain.
Motion passed. Got it.
I can't have a vote against
Thought we were gonna break the
Age.
record from last
Yep.
time.
I am a year older, so hush up.
Aren't we all?
Hey, Justin, can I speak with you for a minute?
Sure. Nothing to God. Already stated at the prior meeting. So.
Sorry.
The doc fees at the last meeting, I said we are gonna talk about the next like meeting, so when I make it clear, so they could make sure to get their people to come in if they wanted to, but we'll talk about it anyway.
I was surprised.
That's why I did that.
Huh?
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah. I was
So, your